Okay, ladies and gentlemen of Algebra 2, let's talk about absolute value and conversions. Absolute value is something that comes up a fair amount in algebra. We're talking about basically what is a distance of something, what does absolute value mean. And then the second part of this is conversion, so looking at how do we convert from one thing to another. So two pieces here. You need to be able to solve absolute value equations. And then the second part of this is you need to convert units of measurement. So let's kind of get into this and see what we can do. Now, starting with an absolute value equation. So solving an absolute value equation looks like this. All right, something in absolute value equals something else. Rewrite the equation as a compound statement, this, and then solve each compound statement. Now, I want to draw your attention to something, and that is in your original equation, all right, the only thing on this side of the equation is the absolute value part of it. So before you even do any of that, you need to do the absolute value, and I realize that that does not look anything like absolute value. I apologize. Let me try this again. Just the absolute value part only is on this side of the equation. So before I do anything, I've got to make sure that that absolute value is by itself. Now, taking a look here, the absolute value of x equals 5. So all I do for that is say, well, x equals 5 or x equals negative 5. So my solutions are going to be 5 and negative 5. That's all there is to it. Now, if I look at b, square root of, or absolute value of x equals a negative 3. Well, absolute value is going to be a positive. All right, there is no number I could put in for x that's going to give me negative 3 as an answer. 3 doesn't work. Negative 3 doesn't work. Both those get me positive 3, so that doesn't work. So those don't work at all. So this is going to be my tip-off that it's no solution. Anytime that I have an absolute value equal to a negative number, that's going to be my tip-off that it's not going to work. So if I take a look here, absolute value by itself, so that's going to be b plus 15 equals 3, b plus 15 equals negative 3. So subtract 15, b equals negative 12, subtract 15, b equals negative 18. So my solutions are negative 12, negative 18. That's my solutions. Now I know what you're saying. Mr. Heron, you just told me absolute values are never negative. And that is true, but the numbers I can put in here can absolutely be negative, and you can even check. Let's check here. Does negative 12 plus 15, if I take the absolute value of that, does that equal 3? The answer is yes. If I go negative 18 plus 15, does that equal 3? Yes. So both of those are going to work. Now here, before I do anything, first step, I've got to take that over. All right, I've got to subtract 4. Absolute value only works if the absolute value is all by its lonesome. However, I run into a hiccup here because I've got an absolute value equal to a negative number. That is my no solution. That is called the null set. No solution. That's what I got. So now here, before I do anything, I've got to get that by itself. So let's take a look and see what we can do here. So 1, let's go this color. So first thing I want to do is subtract 4. So that's going to give me 3x plus 5 equals 12. So if I divide by 3, I really don't like this color. What happens if I do that? All right, so that's going to be x plus 5 equals 4. So now, here I'm fine. Absolute value equals a number, so x plus 5 equals 4. X plus 5 equals negative 4. So subtract 5, x equals negative 1, x equals negative 9. There's my answer, negative 1 and negative 9. So those are going to be what I can put in there. Oops, skip. So let's talk a little bit about conversions here. Conversions, converting from one thing to another. So I would kind of keep this highlighted, circled somewhere in my notes, keeping that handy. So when I look, how many seconds are in 7 hours? So I'm trying to go 7 hours, 2 seconds. Well, let's see. I want 7 hours. Then how many hours? And I'm going to seconds. So I'm going to say, you know what? 1 hour is going to be 60 minutes. And I'm going to say, you know what? 1 minute is 60 seconds. And now notice what I did. Okay, so I set it up as kind of little fractions. And what I did was I said hour here, minute here, minute here. I want these things to kind of cancel out. So they kind of do an algebraic thing. So my answer is just going to be 7 times 60 times 60, or, 3,600 times 7. So 25,200 seconds. So that's how many seconds are in 7 hours. All right, 60 times 60 times 7. So how many yards are in 198 inches? So I'm starting in inches. All right, I don't like that. Nope. Let's try this. So I've got 198 inches. I really don't like that. I'm just going to do this. So I've got 198 inches. So now I'm going to go, you know what? 12 inches is 1 foot. If I'm trying to get to yards, there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So again, inches to inches, feet to feet, and that gets me to yards. So what I end up doing is I end up taking 198 divided by 36, and that's going to give me 5.5. It ends up being 11 over 2, but that's 5.5 yards. Please make sure you label. It just helps everybody. All right, if you are traveling in miles per hour, what is your current speed in 50 feet per second? So you're going 50 feet in 1 second. I want to get to miles per hour. So this is where kind of the setup that I had is pretty handy. So if you're going from 50 feet, you got to do 2 things. You got to go from feet to miles, and you got to go from seconds to hours. Okay, so seconds have to go to hours, and feet have to go to miles. All right, seconds to hours is going to take 2 conversions. Feet to miles only take 1. So here's what I know. 5,280 feet are in 1 mile. I know that it takes 60 seconds is 1 minute. And I also know that 60 miles per hour. So I also know that 60 minutes is 1 hour. So this ends up being 50 times 60 times 60 on the top over 5,280 on the bottom. So, a little quick calculation. So I get approximately 34.1 miles per hour. So now, recap what I did. I started off with what they gave me. Then I said, you know what, feet, if feet's up, feet's got to be down. So 5,280 feet give me 1 mile. Now I'm in miles, that's what I want. Seconds, well, there's 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. So then I multiply the top, multiply the bottom, and did one final calculation, and now I'm done. So last piece, the car's speedometer says you're going 50 kilometers per hour. How fast are you going in meters per second? So 50 kilometers per hour. Let's do this. So I'm going at 50 kilometers in 1 hour. 1 hour. So I want to go to meters per second. So I need to go from kilometers to meters, and I need to go from hours to seconds. So kilometers to meters is pretty easy. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Now for hours, you know what? 1 hour is 60 minutes, and 1 minute is 60 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to have 50 times 1,000 over 60 times 60. So that's 50,000 divided by 3,600. So that's going to be approximately 13.89 meters. No, don't do that. Meters per second. There's my answer. All right, thank you for playing. Come talk to me with questions, and let's kind of knock the rust off some of this.